So now I want to talk about some basic mistakes to make in organizing sentences. The basic mistakes that I see students make all the time and how to avoid them, or the key mistakes to avoid that cause confusion with the structural organization of a sentence. So I'm going to go through a list of key mistakes. Don't do these things if you're writing. First, don't bury the verb. And I said in a couple videos ago that the main structural relationship of an English sentence is subject-verb. If you bury the verb, you create confusion. I want to give some examples of burying the verb. But to bury the verb means to take the main action of the sentence and put it far away or away from, or turn it into something that it's not. So, the company has the intention. Has is the main verb in that sentence on a surface. But the actual main verb is intends, and it's been buried and turned into intention. So the correct sentence there is the company intends. The company has the intention buries the verb. The company intends makes the main structural component of the sentence clear. These conditions are applicable. Are becomes the main verb when it's not. Apply is actually the main verb, so these conditions apply. This method leads to a reduction of, should be this method reduces. The parties conducted negotiations, should be the parties negotiated. Find the main verb and make sure it's not buried. Seconds. Avoid what are called noun clusters. A noun cluster is, or also known as a stacked noun, is when you line up several nouns in a row to all mean one thing. So the Computer Services Management Group is a noun cluster. It's 4 nouns in a row all organized together. It's confusing. Spam filtering solution. 3 nouns stacked in a row. Confusing. The reason you don't want to bury the verb and you don't want to stack the noun is because the main structural relationship, that SV relationship, becomes imprecise, confusing, unclear, ineloquent, and not very beautiful. If you have a concrete and precise noun with a concrete and precise verb, your sentence will be improved. There's a couple other things to look out for. Eliminate cliches. Especially eliminate cliches that involve overgeneralizations due to the fact that it's widely known that, it's like water off a duck's back. These sorts of things don't produce the kinds of effects that you want. They produce a kind of deadening effect. Next, avoid starting sentences with there is and there are, or it is. When you start a sentence with there is or there are, you're telling your reader that the main structural relationship of the sentence is the relationship between there and to be. What does that look like? I have no idea. It's a totally ambiguous main structural relationship. What a sentence with there is or there are at the beginning does is tell the reader that the main things I'm trying to say are pushed way off to the side and way later in the sentence, and you have to work to go and find them. You should eliminate there is and there are, go find the actual main verb and the actual concrete noun and put them together at the beginning of the sentence. In general, you should choose active over passive verbs, and you should choose active voice over passive voice. Passive voice is a form of the verb to be plus the past participle. I don't want to get too much into that, but if you're thinking about that main structural relationship, you don't want it to be vague or ambiguous. It means you're going to avoid the passive voice. You should also avoid what are called double words. So my favorite is when students tell me first and foremost. The problem with the phrase first and foremost is you're diminishing the emphasis on the fact that it's first by creating 2 words that mean exactly the same thing. If it's important to you to say that first, this is the case, then just say first. First and foremost is a double word that decreases the emphasis on the first. Basic and fundamental is another example. Each and every, full and complete, completely final, each individual, personal belief. These are all double words. You should just use 1 word to make it clear where the meaning lies. You should also avoid euphemisms, jargon, or inflated language. Or we're going to utilize a P6 processor. Utilize is inflated language, it's unnecessary. It makes it potentially ambiguous. So avoid jargon, avoid unnecessarily inflated language, avoid euphemisms also. Euphemisms produce other kinds of effects, or negative effects as well. So that's a start of a list of a few things to avoid. They mostly revolve around that main structural relationship of a sentence and getting that structural relationship.